rights in the battle against a wide range of social challenges confronting our society, such as the slight decrease in the levels of crime in general and violent crimes in particular. However, Deputy Speaker, the scourge of violence against women and children is a daunting humiliation on our land. It goes against our entrenched values, norms, beliefs, and human rights culture. We must therefore unite in action and mobilize society for stronger partnership, leaving no one behind to tackle the scourge of gender-based violence and femicide. We acknowledge that much needs to be done in preventing these atrocious crimes from recurring. We plead with victims of these appalling crimes to use facilities provided by the ANC-led government for free, quality, and confidential care for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. The ANC welcomes the intent of government to further open and establish a safe shelter in Potchefstroom, which will reduce secondary victimization, expedite finalization of cases, and improve the conviction rate through prosecutor-guided investigation and stakeholder engagement. Government must strengthen organs of people's power, such as ward committees, community policing forums. SGBs must work with civil society to intensify the fight against gender-based violence and all forms of criminal activities in the province. A concerted effort to curb teenage pregnancies through intensified advocacy campaigns must be rolled out. Criminal charges must be laid against perpetrators of statutory rape and those who are failing to report such incidences. This will send a resolute message that says enough is enough. Hands off our vulnerable children. We have a moral duty and obligation to protect them against sexual abuse. Deputy Speaker, as acknowledged by the Honorable Premier in his State of the Provincial address last week that he delivered before this House, unemployment that is standing at 52.8%, affecting the majority of our young people, remains a challenge and a going concern. Through you, Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, no effort must therefore be spared to defuse the ticking time bomb of young unemployment, especially focusing in our youth and women and people with disability. The January 8th statement has just put job creation through meaningful economic transformation at the top of its priority list for this year. Therefore, rigorous and radical economic transformation programs that will revitalize industrial sites must without failure be implemented. These sites must possess the efficient ability to accelerate the creation of an enabling environment for investment in improved manufacturing competitiveness, which remains the most reliable sustained employment creator with the highest job multiplier, whilst being cognizant of the comparative advantage that we have as a province. In this regard, we are concerned about the delayed establishment of the Bujanala Special Economic Zone, Honorable Premier, which has the potential to create more than 15,000 jobs opportunities in the Moses Kotane local municipality and will benefit also the surrounding areas. It has been talks for a long time, Honorable Premier. It's about time that we get the final plan and we pursue the Special Economic Zone decisively as a collective. The Northwest Development Corporation must fully exploit job creation opportunities across the province as part of full realization of its mandate with manufacturing as a priority sector. Improving the competitiveness of our people in small-scale economic activity, such as local retail and enhanced local ownership of spaza shops, must be fast-tracked for beneficiaries to access that 500 million fund aimed at supporting small businesses in our villages and our townships. As the ANC, we welcome the framework on localization that is to be developed through the supply chain located in the provincial treasury. Deputy Speaker, our state-owned entities must be repositioned to contribute towards job creation as part of the provincial growth and development strategy that focuses on mining, agriculture, tourism, arts and culture to stimulate economic growth and development. We will not achieve our strategic intent if we do not get deeper into the challenges of our SOEs in the Northwest province. The state must take a radical culture shift to avoid future collapse of our state-owned entities. It cannot happen under our watch as the deployees of the African National Congress in this parliament. Their turnaround strategy must realize return on investment for an inclusive economy that benefit all our people, women, youth, and people with disabilities. The acceleration on renovation of Pilansbeck and George sewer airports will significantly boost repositioning of the province as an investment and tourism destination of choice. Therefore, the turnaround plan in this respect must restore hope and demonstrate the vision that seeks to position the Northwest as a key strategic enabler through SADC and Africa as a continent for growth and development. The recent launch of AgriHub yesterday in Molelwane Farm in partnership with the Northwest University is a groundbreaking milestone that will enhance livestock and crop value chain, support emerging farmers through research, technological development, and capacity building. Engagements with agricultural and mining sectors, private sector, and all stakeholders must be a permanent feature in pursuance of to create conditions that will enable small businesses to emerge, to grow, to access new markets, to create new products, and to create more sustainable business opportunities for people, thus creating sustainable jobs. Beneficiation of our mineral resources will reverse decades of extraction economy that has not contributed much to create local jobs to address the triple challenges confronting us as a province. Government program and action will be closely monitored, Honorable Premier, on how you take private sector to task on creating of jobs, especially for young people. Its priority must create an enabling environment that your priority, Honorable Premier, you must create an enabling environment so that more jobs are created, and we need more jobs, nothing less, but more jobs must be created. We do not have the luxury to deliver on this priority. As the ANC, we welcome capacity building we wish to emphasize that this must be sustainable jobs. Deputy Speaker, let me just draw from the Freedom Charter clauses. The land shall be shared among those who work it, and the state shall continue to help the peasants with implements, seeds, tractors, dams to save over 6,000 hectares of land back to our communities in accordance with and this must be done in accordance with the Land Expropriation Act. We'll continue to expropriate land in the public interest to promote inclusivity and access to natural resources. Deputy Speaker, education remains the apex priority which we believe is the only tool of cultivating and progression tool to take our country forward. We welcome the expansion of broadband connectivity to schools in rural communities where access to connectivity and internet is a challenge. However, broadband rollout in the province must be prioritized as it will ignite business opportunities, especially for young people, also advancing innovation. We commend the uninterrupted efforts of the caring and creation of conducive learning environment for our learners, with the provision of sanitary towels and the successful introduction of breakfast in 300 schools, which will now be expanded to all secondary schools across the province. Thumbs up. The notion of the doors of learning and culture shall be open is being given practical meaning through the construction of new schools which have created other job opportunities. However, in pursuit of the vision to provide quality public education for all, as the ANC, we call on government to speed up the maintenance and refurbishment of dilapidated schools infrastructure to ensure that conditions are conducive for learning and teaching. It is further important, Deputy Speaker, to intensify learnerships, to enhance the skills revolution and massification on vocational and occupational training, and invest in skills that will contribute towards growing the economy, Honorable Premier. The ANC reaffirms the guide that South African economy, in accordance with the Freedom Charter's call, the people shall share in the country's wealth, and applauds the commitment to urgently bring together government, labor movement, business and communities in social pact to accelerate economic growth and create jobs. We therefore want to support and applaud Honorable Premier for his State of the Provincial Address as the African National Congress. We are looking forward to accelerate the program of changing the lives of our people. Thank you very much.
Honorable Botswe, you've got 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Leaders of the EFF, as led by Commissar Papiki Babuile, members of the Executive Committee, members of the Northwest Provincial Legislature, Northwest communities, ya rona ya Bokone Bophirima, Magosi a rona. Today, as the economic freedom fighters, we stand before this House to reject, in the strongest possible terms, the maiden statement of the provincial address delivered by the Premier Lazarus Mokgosi on Thursday, the 27th of February 2025. This address was nothing but a repetition of an empty promises, a tired echo of his predecessor's failure, a blinded disregard for the pressing needs of our people. Honorable Deputy Speaker, let me disappointingly make a reference to the theme of the 2025 of the Nation Address, which echoes something like a nation that works for all is the first point of humiliation for working class South Africans. In fact, it should be translated to a nation that works for the elite, because our people benefit nothing but empty promises from the government of the day. Similarly, the 2025, the Northwest Provincial State of the Province Address, bringing nothing concrete on how it will achieve its objective to transform the provincial politically, socially, and economic landscape. Each speech, Honorable Deputy Speaker, is a rhetoric of the previous one. The only change being structured content of the speech. The EFF vehemently reject this proof of service delivery failure delivered by the Premier called SOPA. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the people of the Northwest Province are tired of listening to the same scripted speeches that lack vision, substance, and actionable solution. The Premier had an opportunity to chart a new course, to inspire confidence, and to commit to the real and tangible changes. But instead, he wasted our time with rhetoric devoid of commitment. We cannot, in good conscience, endorse a speech that fails to address the deep-seated challenges facing our province. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Premier completely failed to articulate a clear implementation plan to tackle the rising unemployment rate in our province. At this stand, Northwest remain one of the provinces with highest level of jobless, particularly amongst youth. Our people wake up daily to face a grim reality of no job, no economic opportunities, and no relief. Yet the Premier could not provide a single concrete plan on how his government will create sustainable employment. The Premier boasts about 10,000 jobs being created, but he deliberately failed to mention that these are temporary jobs that pay our people peanuts. Our people do not need short-term exploitative work opportunities. They need stable, permanent jobs that will sustain them and their family. We are their long-term employment strategies. We are their industrializations projects that will create sustainable livelihood. The Premier's speech was silent on the crucial issues because, just like his predecessors, he has no vision for economic transformation in our province. Honorable Speaker, one of the most shameful omissions in the Premier's address is his failure to speak on the escalating crisis of gender-based violence and femicide in our province. Every single day, women and children in the Northwest Province fall victims to brutal violence, yet the Premier had no words to offer on how his administration intend to tackle this scourge. Where are the plans for threatening law enforcement to protect women? Where is the funding for GBV shelters and survivor support program? Where is the commitment to implement stricter measures against the perpetrators of those heinous crimes? The silence of the Premier on this matter speaks volumes about the government's disregard for the safety and dignity of the women of the Northwest Province. Honorable Deputy Speaker, infrastructure development remains a tantamount problem. In his speech, the Premier stated how his government has spent 429 million on the maintenance of the roads such as the Swazirenege to Christiana Road and the Ottosdal to Delray Road. This spending does not touch anything on the daily in the construction of Nelson Mandela Road in Mafikeng. Instead, another allocation of funds are set aside as an attempt to fix the never-ceasing construction of Nelson Mandela Road. The President of the country spoke about the allocation of the infrastructure funds that is established to build a new rail infrastructure and piped water that will be brought to the villages in different provinces. However, the Northwest Province remains with a stagnant rail infrastructure here in Mafikeng. Taking cognizance of the economic value of rail commuters transportation, it could serve the community of Mafikeng as a cheaper mode of transportation as opposed to the road transport. This proves that the government of the day has no plans to rehabilitate the rail infrastructure while there is a funding made available. Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is absurd how unconcerned our government is about the immediate need of our province and its people, and this is EMI's funding being made available on national scale. The stagnant of the Nelson Mandela Road is a result of infrastructure backlog. It's a pure example of the failure of this government that claims to care for our people, which is blinded lie. Honorable Deputy Speaker, it is disheartening to observe that our province is the only province with an unemployment rate of over 50%, standing at the staggering unemployment rate of 52.8%. This economic stance of our province is embarrassing to make a mention of. In 2023, Bojanala Special Economic Zone was to be rehabilitated. The same song was sung in 2024 SOPA. Today, the Premier is silent about it, as they have lied to our people about the SEZ. How many times have we heard about the rehabilitation of Pilanesberg and Dick Munsiwa Airport, of which, by the way, are the biggest economic hubs in our province? Honorable Deputy Speaker, the EFF in the Northwest Province demands to know the prices starting date of all this project. We want to hear feasible project, deliverable with a clearly stated start date and intended completion period. The tourism industry is not taken serious in the province, which turned out to be the reason why the implementation of the tourism recovery plan has failed. The seventh administration should not be comfortable and continue to blame the dead thing. They always shift the blame to contractors, which in actual fact, it is their inability to lead. This government, Honorable Deputy Speaker, failed to provincialize tourism industrial dismally and should accept defeat. Their failure to implement the tourism recovery plan is evidence that the ANC-led government is dead beat. The Bojanala Special Economic Zone received 6.1 billion in 2023, and in 2024 the amount increased to 13.5 billion. This year we can argue that the spending budget keeps increasing while the zero level of service is registered. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the economic growth as a result of the job creation remain unchanged. The tendering system has taken toll on our economy, whereby only the elite benefit while the majority of the Northwest people remain with the economic threat of unemployment. Cost of living increased due to inflation, of which make food expensive. We demand that the government of the day take into justification the hike in electricity tariff and fuel, which will disadvantage the working class badly. Our people in the rural village must be compensated for and be given free electricity coupons. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the health of our people in the Northwest Province is not of any concern to the ANC-led government. The EFF have discerning concern relating to the Department of Health. The Premier in 2024 SOPA boasted about how his department has been opening and handling over clinics such as the Jobetina Community Health Center and Mdntv Community Health Center. We know for the next year, the elections, it's a municipal election. The same Jobetina Health Community Center and Mdntv will be opened again as they did in 2019. Honorable Speaker, what is the use of breaking about something so immaterial while there is a zero capacity to manage and maintain those health centers? A typical example is the Unit 9 clinics in Mahikeng that is forever short of medical supply. Even a paracetamol is always out of the stock. The EFF is the only party that takes the health status of our people to heart. Building clinics but having no maintenance plan for medical supply, which unfortunately result in the shortage of medicine and compromising the chronic patient, is as good as not having those ribbons cut to open such clinics. Musa Khotla, the premier singled out the 87-year-old granny with a pride that they have built her RDP house after 30 years of democracy. The premier should have been ashamed to even single this granny out, as is a clear sign that the ANC-led government has failed her and many other citizens in this province. Many of our people continue to live in madhouses because of the incompetency of the ANC to provide shelter to our people. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the frustration of the resident of Ramosiri Muilwa, Ditsobotla and Makwasi Hills local municipalities, amongst others, is the mounting, and it manifests itself through those service delivery protests in demanding of water, electricity, and access to a basic needs. Honorable Deputy Speaker, in his speech, the Premier has conciliated about skills audit in the government department as a means to eradicate incompetency individuals. The irony of how this same provincial government have allowed incompetent and incapacitated individuals to occupy key strategic positions, all in the name of sustaining the status quo of the ANC party in municipalities. The Tsobota local municipality is a clear indication that the incapacitated officials render municipality ungovernable due to cadre deployment. Honorable Deputy Speaker, the Premier has signed an MOU with the Chinese National Import and Export Corporation.
Your time is up, Honorable Sir. Your time is up. Yeah. I gave you an extra minute. You can check. You came here at 10 past. Yeah, it's 28 minutes past. Honorable Sonakile, you've got 8 minutes.
No, thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Maybe before I start with my speech, I must put this on record. Maybe it was not a good decision that I slept at Lowe last night, because ever since then, I'm experiencing short breath. So as I'm doing this speech, please bear with me. I'm not feeling well. Deputy Speaker, I want to begin my speech today by talking about Tintswalo for a moment. Last year in his SONA, President Ramaphosa gave us a heartwarming fairy tale about the 1994 born Tintswalo. Cute. But let's discuss the real Tintswalo, one born right here in Northwest, in Taung Mudimon village under your ANC government. Tintswalo doesn't spend her days reminiscing about apartheid. She reads about it in history books. What she lives is 30 years of ANC rule. Her father works for NTI, a government entity crippled by ANC cadre deployment and looting of its profits. He hasn't been paid for months as the entity's revenue is unaccounted for by your government. She grew up on child grants, attended a school built with asbestos, and relied on a government-funded scholar transport system, so safe that her bus once lost its steering wheel while in motion. Fully paid for and inspected by the same government that certifies ghost projects. Her village of Mudimon was sold a dream in 2018 when your Department of DDECT spent 1 million on a business plan and feasibility study that promised 51 direct jobs and local economic growth. Today, that plan is gathering dust somewhere in a government office. Much like every other grand ANC promise. No jobs, no economic growth, just another expensive fantasy project that lined a few pockets while leaving Tintswalo and her community with absolutely nothing. She made it to university thanks to NSFAS, but still went to bed hungry because your government's incompetence means that stipends arrive late, if at all. She graduated and is now unemployed. Just another statistic in your growing youth unemployment crisis. In April 2024, she spent her mother's last cents to travel to Mahikeng, where your government told hundreds of desperate young people to bring their CVs for some mythical smart city project. The only thing that actually happened, a free concert by Makats. Because nothing screams job creation like a song and dance. She went home broke, hungry, and betrayed. She tried EPWP, but the local ANC councillor demanded sex for a job. She's still unemployed. And guess what? There are thousands of Tinzwalos out there, not because of apartheid, but because of the ANC government in Northwest. Premier Mokhosi, let's dissect your SOPA speech. You ended with a poetic line, and I want to quote you. You said, ours is a skewed past centered on exploitation, exclusion, and oppression. But we remain hopeful about the socio-economic prospects of our country, of our province, close quote. That sounds so profound, until we all realize that we are not talking about apartheid. You are describing the 30 years of ANC rule in Northwest. Nelson Mandela once said that we must do to ANC what they did to apartheid if the ANC does bad things to them. But Premier, your government has done exactly that. Over the past 30 years, you have exploited, you have excluded, and you have oppressed the people of Northwest for 3 decades. The only right they still have is the right to vote, while their socio-economic rights have been trampled on, ANC style. You bragged about expanding the National School Nutrition Program to high schoolers. Newsflash, if you actually created jobs, families will not need school meals to survive. Feeding schemes are not a policy win. They are an admission of failure. Your speech was deja vu for residents who wasted an hour listening to you. It was like we were watching a lost man who has no clue what his predecessors did or didn't do. Let's fact check some of your big announcements. You promised Mabana renovations where you said you have set aside 4 million. Lovely, Premier. But in 2020, I want to tell you that Premier Mokhoro already said renovations were underway. If you go to his speech, you will realize that there was a budget allocated. What happened to it? You spoke about the Ottosdal to Hartebees Road. Just last year, your acting former premier said it would be finished by June 2024. You are now announcing the same project as if it's new. Did you forget your own government's promise, or are you just recycling lies? The Ramsadi Siwa project. Last year in acting Premier Maloi's speech, he claimed that a contractor was already on site. Now you come back with a fresh 101 million allocation as if it's a new project. Do you think residents have forgotten? The Northwest airports. Just last year again, your government said that preferred bidders for George Muntsu and Pilanesberg airports will start in May 2024. Now you push the date to March 2025. You are not revitalizing airports, you are revitalizing lies and excuses. And then there was a media briefing by MEC Lenkopani 2 weeks back. She assured the media that you would announce groundbreaking initiatives for DDECT in your SOPA. We are still waiting. Let's talk about your idea of progress. You celebrated giving an 84-year-old Lydia Mere a house. You are talking about efforts to provide housing. 30 years into democracy, you are still talking about efforts. You lost billions in human settlement grants between 2015 and 2021 because your government could not spend money properly. And now you want applause for building only 19,307 houses in 4 years. At that rate, we'll clear the backlog sometime in the next century. Then there's corruption. In 2021, your government proudly announced a forensic investigation unit to fight corruption that will be allocated in the provincial treasury. Ekai. Was it ever established, or it was just another ANC fairy tale? Now you want us to believe you are serious about corruption. Please. Jobs, you claim you have created thousands of jobs. Yet Northwest lost 20,000 jobs in the last quarter of 2024. Your own figures do not even match what the Stats SA data is saying. So which is it, Premier? Did the jobs ever exist, or are we dreaming with Faro? Your first SOPA was underwhelming. You had one job, which was to communicate your government's top priorities and how you plan to deliver them. Instead, you gave us a speech that wasn't smart. As a former principal, you should know better. Your speech was not specific, it was not measurable, and definitely not time-bound. Instead, Premier, of the ANC's usual denialism, maybe use your SOPA response on Thursday to actually fix what you failed to address last week. And while you are at it, fire your speechwriters. That grammar-riddled copy and paste mess was embarrassing. I suspect you are using the same ones who used to write for former Premier Mapi, because he too was known for delivering empty speeches like the one you delivered last week. Deputy Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable Groenewald, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. Benjamin Barber said there is a sense in which cities are beginning to assume a part of what was traditionally attributed to national sovereignty, meaning the responsibility to secure the life, liberty and sustainability of citizens in a world where nobody else is doing it. Therefore, when countries face complicated issues, progress is usually slow, but those difficulties are being experienced by cities and towns first, and local government must find solutions while national leaders debate which policy to use. Honourable Premier, your speech had a lack of direction which North West urgently needs. North West is a province that has limited resources and is now facing a brain drain as well. The citizens of North West would have liked to hear how you are going to promote innovation and technology to deal with the scarcities of the North West. The citizens of North West would like to see leadership skills like partnership building, establishing of visions, situation assessments and strategic solutions, and what conservation planning is in place as the custodian of the assets in the public trust. Honourable Deputy Speaker, a strong executive consists of an executive that has performance standards and an executive that do inspections and enforce the rule of law. What is the Premier's strategy to implement such? Agbare Speaker, ons sien dorpe verswelg in wanadministrasie, politieke binnengevegte wat lei na nul en geen dienslewering. Ons sien dorpe wat ons skaars hulpbronne soos water vernietig deur swak omgewingsbestuur. Ons sien geen uitvoerbare onderhoudsbeplanning of ontwikkelingsstrategie nie, slegs die verval van die huidige infrastruktuur. Ons sien omgewingsreservate wat bestuur word sonder enige besigheidsplan, meestersplan of omgewingsvolhoubare planne. Goed wat die uitvoerende gesag in plek moet hê, maar dit is nie in plek nie. Ons sien mense sterf in hospitale weens 'n gebrek aan omgee, personeel wat nie betaal word nie, of urelange skofte moet werk weens 'n gebrek aan erns vanaf die regering. Noordwes se premier het teleurgestel deur geen rigting aan te wys nie en ook geen raamwerk vir oplossings daar te stel nie. Agbare premier, alle probleme in die provinsie is nie slegs geskiedkundige probleme nie. Dit is onlangse probleme wat veroorsaak dat alle bestuur krisisbestuur word. Dit deur swak of geen beplanning is om daar te stel vir die vooruitgang van die provinsie nie. If you fail to plan, your plan is to fail. Honourable Speaker, I want to challenge the Premier to think outside the box. As an example, make the MSc of DDEC Affairs sleep over at the hotel, schools and conservation accommodations set there for the people of North West, and not at lodges and other hotels, creating a civic trust and true social compact, stating what is good enough for the ordinary citizen of North West is good enough for the executive. Honourable Premier, the Freedom Front Plus have one message in terms of your SOPA, and I want to look you in your eye when I tell you this. Do better. Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker.
Honourable Solo, you've got 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Redem. Speaker, the State of the Province address delivered in this House on Thursday is a replay or a precursory of the previous SOPAs with few changes and additions. It was just a mere fairy tale story as it was done by your previous predecessors. The government of the Northwest Province, led by the African National Congress, has for about 30 years been making announcement of promises, but the Northwest government has failed to implement the promise of better life to all. The latest quarterly labor force survey for Q4 or Q4 of 2024 shows that the expanded unemployment figure has over the years grown to 52.8%. That is half the population of Northwest is not working. The statistics shows that over the years, the strategic plans and policies of the ANC have failed to address the fundamental socio-economic challenges of unemployment, hunger, and inequality in the province. The figures from Stats SA show the contrary, that the better life is for the few, not for all in the Northwest. I would like to cite an example, Honorable Premier. From your speech, you mentioned or you touched NTI. Mo ke emeng mo ke batla go ra ke re o no mpampetsa. O no gata mae a sa nyane wa gata sentle butle gore o se ka wa rella. Ga wa ka wa re bolella re le baagi ba province e gore maikemisetso a gago ka NTI ke eng. Go utlwisa botlhoko go bona gore go nna le bomme ba ba kgonang go ntsha selelo mo pele ga rona. Ele cleaner a amogela a mere 6,000 a nna dikgwedi a sa amogele e le motlholagadi. Ra tsa tshwetso re le mo teng ga ntlo ye gore ka adjustment budget gompelwe le diko thoko gore badiri ba NTI ba duelwe ga se ka ga nna jalo wa bua gore ra e wina wa empampetsa gape mo teng ga ntlo ye ka budget speech BP wa gago or hati ke business rescue wa gago a boa o itiretse ka go rata mara ga wa re bolelela Honorable Speaker o buile ka dibese tse pedi mara ke batla go ra ke re ga re bua ka employment and creation of job as we are speaking batho ba atamelang bus service ba na le more than 4 months ba sa bereke go ra go bua ka job losses e yang go tsenyeletsa mo godimo ga 52.8% ya rate ya unemployment in this particular province. Ra renka yone mare e re ke go gopotse Honorable ka gore ke go utlile o quota Fidel Castro ke tla boela mo go wena kgantelenyana before ke tswalla a ke go gopotse gore Vladimir Lenin once asked a very pertinent question: what is to be done? Now I want to pose this particular question gore what is to be done when things are like this, when there are, when
30 seconds remaining.
ya gore ra go loser di job ko NTI ebile already setse re di loser mo ra re SMKP we are calling for the serious and radical paradigm shift in state-owned entities, that's calling for the turnaround strategy that will improve state-owned entities and public-private partnerships as they will assist in job creations. Ubile ware a revolution is not a bed of roses. Let me remind you, your position is not a bed of roses for you to come here in this particular house and just give us mere your position as the premier is an instrument, a vehicle for service delivery, a vehicle to ensure that development in this province.
Your time is up, honorable member. Your time is up.
Service delivery. Thank you very much.
Honorable Kuno.
Honorable Speaker, Dr. Desmond Mohono, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Premier, Honorable members of the Executive Council, Honorable members of the Provincial Legislature, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I've consciously listened to the reaction to the SOPA address by our colleagues from the opposition benches, Honorable Premier. And I asked myself a question in listening to them. Is there anything new they have said? And I couldn't find any of it. I asked myself a question. Should you be worried about anything that they have said? Should you get any sleepless nights about anything that I've said, and I just couldn't find any, nothing. Instead, I want to say to you, remain focused on your plan to change the lives of the people of the Northwest. Remain focused, and through that focus, indeed, Northwest will become a much better province. All that you hear from them is that they are in love with Tintswalo. They are really in love with Tintswalo. And we are happy that they continue to draw inspiration from the speech of Honorable President on Tintswalo. We want to invite them from the opposition benches. They need to join this plan, this clear vision we have articulated in improving the quality of the lives of our people. Honorable Speaker, the SOPA address by Premier Mkhosi draws inspiration from one of the key highlights of 2025, the celebration of the 70th anniversary of the adoption of the Freedom Charter. The Freedom Charter remains a blueprint of the type of country we want to live in. It articulates a timeless vision of a country and a nation centered on democratic values, social justice, and to improve the quality of the lives of our people. The 2025 SOPA not only gives an account of what the ANC government has done in pursuit of the progressive vision encapsulated in the Freedom Charter, but also illustrates in clear and unambiguous terms practical steps to be taken by the ANC government in the next 5 years to improve the quality of the lives of the people of the Northwest Province. What is evident in the SOPA address is that the ANC government has listened to the plight of our people, and that guided by the Freedom Charter, there's a clear plan to address economic rejuvenation and job creation. In this regard, the ANC commends the Premier in providing leadership with regards to sound measures to ensure the full implementation of the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy. So, Honorable Botso, it is not true that there's no plan to change the economic fortunes of our province. The Premier mentioned it. It is called the Provincial Growth and Development Strategy. In responding to the imperative of accelerating sustainable provision of water to our people, especially in the townships and rural areas, the ANC welcomes the following concrete measures, not dreams, concrete measures articulated by the Premier in the State of the Province address. A number of water and sanitation projects being implemented at a cost of 450 million that are changing the lives of our people in areas such as Moretele, Moses Kotane, Ramotsere, Mamusa, and Naledi municipalities. The construction of a pipeline from Bloemhof Dam to Mamusa local municipality will be completed in June this year. This is indeed a practical example of the ANC government hard at work in pursuit of the vision embedded in the Freedom Charter. Other similar projects are also underway in Budibe, in Ramusadi, Signal Hill, Lobatle, amongst others. 65 million rand will be spent in finishing incomplete projects in Zwelitsoku, Ditagong, Dialpan, and many other parts of the Northwest Province. Construction of the Johannesburg water scheme worth billions of rands will provide much needed relief with regards to bulk water supply challenges in numerous municipalities such as Rustenburg, Moses Kotane, and Ramotsirmil. These are just a few of the interventions contained in the SOPA address that will alleviate water supply challenges and promote economic investment in our province. Honourable members, we note and
Deputy
welcome
Speaker.
this significant progress registered by the government.
Honorable Kuno.
I had to do that because you're ignoring me. It's fine. I would like to check, will the member take a question?
No.
I said the member, not members. I'm speaking
Honorable
to the member.
Sonakile.
Lona ke a tla ho lona.
Honorable Sonakile, can you address me?
Yes, I want to check if the member
The
can
member
do
said
it.
no. Can you sit down?
No.
Okay. No, thank you, honorable member.
We may proceed, Honorable Kuno.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Speaker. So we take that as a bit of a commercial break by the honourable member. so he needs to read a bit more about Tintswalo. Honourable members, we note and welcome the significant progress registered by the ANC government in the battle against a wide range of social challenges confronting our people, such as the slight decrease in the levels of crime in general and violent crime in particular. Much still needs to be done to ensure that we create safer communities and protect the most vulnerable. We commend the recent successful arrest of 2 foreign nationals outside Ziras who were smuggling drugs worth 37 million rand from Tanzania to Johannesburg. And this we were trying to do through the Kopfontein border post. The ANC further commends the successful uprooting of illegal mining and economic criminal activities at Stanfontein, Klerksdorp, and the swift arrest of suspected illegal miners and police officials who were involved in the alleged kingpin's escape. The Valumgodi operations must be extended to other troubled areas where illegal mining operations are taking place, such as Tatlahanyane village in the Moses Kotane local municipality. Honourable Speaker, the ANC reiterates that corruption deeply weakens the legitimacy and trust in public institutions and shapes the people's negative perceptions of government's performance and state efficiency. It distorts the distribution of public services and has a lopsided impact on marginalized and vulnerable groups, leading to increased inequality. We welcome efforts contained in SOPA by Premier Lazarus Mokhosi to strengthen collaboration with SIU and other law enforcement agencies to root out corruption at all levels in the Northwest Province. The delay in the payment of entrepreneurs, service providers, and tender entrepreneurs in an effort to solicit bribes by unethical government officials must come to an end. All spheres of government must strictly adhere to 30-day payment system, which enables SMMEs to continue to operate without hardships. In line with the recent ANC Lekgotla, we reaffirm commitment to fighting corruption in municipalities and to the accelerated service delivery program, as well as the implementation of district development model aimed at improving the quality of service delivery through improved planning, coordination, and monitoring at local government level. We welcome the effort of COCTA and Provincial Treasury to support our municipalities while holding them accountable for prudent financial management. The SOPA address, honourable members, provides empirical evidence of work which has been done to fix roads in our province. The ANC welcomes practical steps which are being implemented by both provincial government and local government in fixing our roads, which are so critical for the economic recovery of Northwest. These measures include 429 million spent in the current financial year in rural and small towns to link rural and farming communities in the province to the major economic hubs. Hundreds of millions of rands will be spent over the course of the next few years to accelerate this work. Collaboration with other state agencies such as Central to improve and upgrade our major access roads. Collaboration with private sector to improve key road upgrades worth about 200 million in areas such as Ramkokostad, Manamakhoteng, Chaneng, and many other parts of the province. Special interventions which are being implemented together with municipalities to ensure that we implement proper road maintenance plans. In this regard, our people will experience major improvement in fixing potholes in our province over the course of the next few months. The massive rollout of infrastructure development programs worth billions of rands aimed at constructing new roads. We ought to ensure that through our roads, there's access to schools, clinics, and economic opportunities, particularly in rural communities. There must be no financial rollovers of the funds allocated for the rehabilitation and upgrading of our roads. Low expenditure, wasteful and fruitless expenditure remains a betrayal of our people. The injunction of Clause 9 of Freedom Charter on Premier, that there shall be houses, security and comfort, where all people shall have the right to live where they choose, be decently housed, and to bring up their families in comfort, security, must be reflected in the eradication of all mud houses and building of integrated human settlements where all have transport, roads, lighting, playing fields, crèches, and social centers.
1 minute remaining, honourable member.
The speedy unblocking of all housing projects and provision of safe and affordable housing must be implemented as part of accelerated service delivery. We welcome a very clear indication in the SOPA address on our Premier that just in the next financial year, you are going to be ensuring that we build at least 3,000 houses. Many other highlights of your speech we welcome as the African National Congress. Interventions in improving healthcare, which includes building new clinics, upgrading existing ones. We welcome the completion of the Pokem Forensic Mortuary. All of these measures clearly indicate that we are on course in terms of improving access and improving healthcare to our people. As the African National Congress, we believe that once more, the State of the Province address presented by the Premier is a very sound plan, and we once more call upon all the members of the House to support this plan. We call our community in general to support this wonderful plan, which will definitely go a long way in improving the quality of the lives of our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Kuno. Honorable Mangope, you've got 3 minutes. Can you order, honorable members?
So se sa gana ba gaetsho ke tswe re go a re la nteng ba gaetsho motlatsa musa khotla mo primary o tlotlegang maluka mtlwe a tlotlegang ne ke re ke ile koponyana ke ba gaetsho kopo e sa tlwaelesegang ka gore ke a go bua ka wena mo primary ne ke kopa gore go nkopele gore motlatsa musa khotla mphe The Premier's State 2025 State of the Province address demonstrates a fundamental disconnect between the governing party's rhetoric and the harsh realities facing Northwest residents. Our province, Mr. Premier, deserves more than recycled promises and misleading statistics. I would like to share with you, sir, critical challenges which we believe require immediate attention. One, we are faced with unprecedented unemployment crisis. Northwest 52.2 unemployment rate is the highest in South Africa. Youth unemployment stands at 60.2% between the ages of 15 and 24, and 40.4% between the ages of 25 and 34. These figures far exceed the global unemployment rate of 5.1%. Number two, failed service delivery. Chronic water shortages across the province, deteriorating infrastructure, basic services collapse in multiple municipalities. Three, mismanaged economic initiatives. The 24 million development funds lacks implementation details. Private sector achievements incorrectly claimed as government successes. The Makaring Smart City project diverts resources from provincial needs. We would like to offer a solution-driven approach. One, economic revival, implement transparent investment frameworks, create sustainable job opportunities, not temporary placements. Focus on youth skills development and entrepreneurship. Governance reform, establish clear accountability measures, institute professional
Honorable Mangope, 1 minute remaining.
services delivery mechanisms, combat corruption through independent oversight. Infrastructure development, prioritize water infrastructure rehabilitation, develop practical transport solutions, focus on projects directly benefiting Northwest residents. The time for empty promises passed, Mr. Premier. Action SA stands ready to implement and to join you in practical solutions that will restore dignity and prosperity to the Northwest Province. We offer not just criticism, but a clear path forward through competent governance, economic growth, and genuine service delivery. Mr. Premier, go bonala gore kopo ya me ga ya atlega. Ke swabile ka gore ga wa nthusa gore kopo ya me ya atlege le ga le go siame o nkutlwile ke a leboga.
Honorable member, ke go neile motsotso le 30 seconds extra. Honorable Mulapisi, I'm observing honorable members moving from one chair to the other. Honorable Oliphant, Honorable Mutsumi, you are moving from one chair to the other. Can you just be at one position, the seat that you are allocated at by the legislature? Please. The Honorable Mulapisi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Speaker, Dr. Mohono, the Honorable Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Khosho, the Honorable Premier Kagiso Mokhosi, members of the Executive Council, esteemed members of the Provincial Legislature, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Honorable Deputy Speaker, allow me to join my colleagues in government and the people of the Northwest Province to welcome the State of the Province address delivered by the Honorable Premier Mokhosi, and rightly agree with what Honorable Kuno have said. Let me remind you, Honorable Deputy Speaker and the House at large, that during the occasion of the opening of the legislature in July last year, Premier Mokhosi said, and I want to quote, "We do not take for granted the immense trust placed on us, and we pledge to work tirelessly to create a province where no citizen is left behind," close quote. The ANC prides itself in the continuum of commitments and progress registered in all areas towards the total liberation of the people of the province. We not deterred by honorable members who chose to ignore the hard truth and who find it difficult to accept progress we are making. We know that they will try, rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that does not fit in with their core belief, as aptly by Frantz Fanon on cognitive dissonance. And I will leave that to Honorable Fanon Mulema to explain it further on his own time to his colleagues. The address by the Honorable Premier is a truthful account of the state of our beloved province. I must hasten to say that it takes into cognizance pathways to build a better life for our people and the people of the province in particular, as envisioned in the Freedom Charter. Honorable Premier presented a comprehensive narrative of shared vision of the future of the province under the capable stewardship of the Revolutionary People's Movement, the African National Congress. Now, I want to draw the attention of my honorable members and check if they would agree with me that we have identified 8 key challenges facing the province. And I think Honorable Mangwepe has already deposited what he thinks can be a solution to some of the challenges that we are faced as a province. We have identified at the level of the executive 8 key challenges. 1, we all agree that there is a low economic growth. 2, there is high level of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. 3, there is persistent wealth, income, and gender inequality. 4, there is an ongoing gender-based violence and femicide. 5, corruption which threatens democracy and undermines public trust. 6, inequality in access to quality public service, education, health, sanitation. And 8, cooperative governance challenges at local government level. I want to believe that honorable members from the opposition agree with us, that these are the challenges. Now, in responding to these challenges, I'm going to challenge you because we have put in place some of the intervention plan. And what we want you to say is to say whether these plans are enough or not enough and contribute to that. Now, honorable members, the 70th anniversary of the Freedom Charter is a stark reminder of our painful history of apartheid. That is true. Brutal land dispossession and colonial subjugation. Therefore, it is necessary to remind this august house of our commitment to realize the objective of this blueprint of our democracy. In adopting the Freedom Charter, we declare that this freedom we will fight for side by side throughout our lives until we have won our liberty. I stand here to bear states that best testament and confirm that the ANC remains steadfast in its promise to deliver a better life for all. Among key declarations of the Freedom Charter is the restoration of the dignity of our people through providing decent and sustainable human settlement. Honorable members, the Freedom Charter contends that there shall be houses, security, and comfort. All people shall have the right to live where they choose, be decently housed, and to bring up their families in comfort and security. The Premier indicated that over 3,500 houses will be built by the Department of Human Settlement in the financial year of 25-26. I rise to confirm the statement and add that we are also looking at ways to increase the rate at which we issue out the title deeds. Allow me, Deputy Speaker, to indicate that since the start of the 2024-25 financial year, over 5,663 title deeds have been handed over across various municipalities in the province. We are of a firm belief that if properly implemented, First Home Finance has the potential to significantly re-engineer the housing market by expanding to the previously excluded individuals or households who will do more to ensure no one is left behind. In response to the State of the Nation Address 2025 debate, His Excellency, President Ramaphosa said, and I quote, "For investment to grow, there must be a razor-sharp focus on improving the capacity of local government to deliver essential services that are critical to business activity, be they water, electricity, or logistical infrastructure." The Premier has taken the lead in ensuring that we support municipalities in these areas. Through constant engagement with the Department of Water and Sanitation, we are addressing lack of water supply in many communities and have a plan to resolve debt owed to water boards. The ANC-led government summit came out strong on the need to address water challenges in the province. We were directed to urgently assess the capacity of Water Service Authority by end of April. Honorable members, under the stewardship of the Premier Mokhosi, the department continued its work with municipality to refurbish and unblock sewer pipelines, install water meters and internal reticulation, refurbish existing tank, setting drillings and equipping boreholes as indicated by Honorable Kuno. In the last year alone, over 100 million rands have been spent on water and sanitation projects, benefiting over 35,000 beneficiaries. Moreover, COGTA has a bulk infrastructure commitment which has taken an advantage of the Infrastructure South Africa bid window to apply for funds for bulk infrastructure water projects, which will run in turn unlock human settlement projects and address slow delivery of houses. We are hopeful that the funding will be allocated to deal with outstanding water projects, especially in Nakamudiri Mulema. I want to turn to the invitation that I've extended to the honorable members, that we, of the 8 key challenges that we have identified, this is what we are offering, Honorable Sonakile, that with regard to the persistent wealth, income, and gender inequality, we have identified that what we need to do is the empowerment of contractors in the Northwest Province. We must look into issues of contractor development program like your Vukupile, which will replicate itself across all the department and not only in public works. We must determine the quantum to be set aside for contractor development, women cooperative for uniform and school fencing, improve access to funding by SMME, working with the private sector. This is what we are offering. With regard to local economic development, this is what we are offering as part of the intervention. We must support the development and implementation of industrial parks in the special economic zone, facilitate the implementation of catalytic projects in various sectors, actualization of all investment pledges of the investors
Deputy
conference
Speaker.
that we had, implement economic development activities such as
Honourable Malapile.
brick making plans.
Honourable, please.
Can I kopa ho ema in terms of Rule 91 go botsa gore a motlotlegi o etsa SOPA e ntšha na? Is that SOPA reloaded? Because we are debating the SOPA that was presented to us. This
does
one
the-
is
what-
a
what-
new
What
one.
does the rule say?
It's not my job to tell you what the rule says.
You
I've
raised it
stood
in
on
terms
a
of-
rule, Deputy Speaker. You have advised us. I've given you a rule. You can't ask me what the rule is. So it's Rule 91. Thank
No,
you.
no, Honourable Lapisi, you may proceed, because I don't have the rules book with me. I just wanted to check what the rule says.
Thank you, thank you very much. We are responding
we-
to
we-
what they said that the Premier did not present any vision. We are responding and we are responding in detail on concrete plans. We are saying that with regard to, because they spoke about issues of ongoing GBV and femicide, and that there is no plan in place, and the Premier did not mention that. We are saying, Chair, that the implementation of the National Strategy Plan on GBV and femicide, that would need to be realized. We need to expand on the victim support service like Tutuzela centers and GBV desk in police stations. We need to work with our communities to end crime by working closely with our community policing forum. On high level of unemployment and poverty and inequality, the Premier spoke to this, to the issue of convening the job summit. We must promote social impact and implementation of the labor plans. We must support the creation of the employment through public employment program, the employment creation through infrastructure project. We must invest in infrastructure project in various sectors of the economy, communication, transport, energy, and water. Now, this is what we are putting in place. The Premier also addressed the issue of corruption, which threatens democracy and undermines the public trust. And we are saying that we need to strengthen the law enforcement security to deal with the disruption by business forums, construction mafias, and the extortion. We need to implement, to ensure the implementation of ethics, fraud prevention, and anti-corruption strategies. On issues of inequality and access to quality basic services such as education, health, and sanitation, we are saying that there is a need of effective use of indigent register and integration with government system for intervention. We must also look into issues of infrastructure implementation. We must expand operating hours of health facilities. We must implement the e-health solution, digitization. This will reduce queues and improve efficiency. We must prioritize the development of patient projects, management system, and all that. On issues of corporate governance challenges at the local municipality, we must visualize and talk about the ideal municipalities. And some of the things that we must do is to bring stability to governance in municipality and restore the delivery of services to our people. We must review the Municipal System Act regulations. We must implement ethics, fraud and corruption, and prevention of anti-corruption strategies. We must ensure the institutionalization of financial disclosure. We must standardize and professionalize the appointment of municipal managers and CFOs and ensure independent regulation and oversight of the appointment process. We must conduct organizational development. We must conduct the skills audit. We must review the organizational structure to align to service delivery requirements. We must fill all vacancies within.
Can you hold on? Honourable Babuli.
I rise in terms of the rules of the legislature. I want to check as to whether the MEC has intentions to remove the premier because he's presenting
Which
his new state of the
which
province.
rule are you raising in terms of?
They are going to remove you, premier. I can tell you. You have not said anything that is saying. Thank you.
Chair, unless if maybe members did not understand or
Honorable
read the speech of the Premier.
Honorable Lapisi. Honorable Solo.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. Ke ne ke raisa in terms of Rule 93, ke re ke ne ke hopotse Honorable MEC gore what he has just said, those are rhetoric things. Jaaka ne re bua re re khale ho buiwa ka issues tsa corruption ga go dirwe sepe. Di job summit we are sick and tired.
Can you please
Kgotsa
sit
go
down?
bolelwa ka di job summit mo
Honorable-
pele ga rona. Di effective use tsa di government
Can you please sit down? Sit down. Sit down. Can you please sit down? You may proceed, Honorable Mulapisi. You've got 2 minutes
As I
remaining.
conclude, Chair, I think the Premier must afford Honorable Solo her request to meet with the Premier so that we have enough time, so that the Premier can clarify you. Chair,
Honorable
we
Deputy
said that
Speaker, ke clarify you ka eng kana?
we must attend to the decaying infrastructure and challenges of bulk infrastructure backlog. And what we are saying is that we must fast track the development and maintenance of water treatment and distribution infrastructure and wastewater treatment system. We must implement water and road projects in the province in various municipalities and explore various options to access existing water resource for the benefit of the water scarce in the villages, and we have used Midval as an example. Now, this is what we are proposing. I mean, this is what we are putting in place as concrete plan, and this is what the Premier has referred to. Now, I want to challenge honorable members to say, if we have identified challenges that are facing the province, and we are saying, this is the route to go, or this is the way to go, can you join us? Can you make your own submission and say, yes, in addressing these challenges, which we all agree that these are the challenges, this is the intervention plan that we can take. If we can do that, Chair, I think we will then take the province forward, and we would not come here and grandstand before our people and say nothing to offer to our people, because we don't have any plan. Members came here, but they did not offer any plan. So I'm challenging you that this is a concrete plan which the Premier has spoken to. And lastly, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Your time is up, Honorable Mulapisi.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Sorakile. You are very disruptive. Honorable members, we have concluded the debate, but before I adjourn the House, I want to caution members that when we refer to the rules of the legislature, for instance, the Honorable Sorakile is raising on Rule 91. Oh, you said 91. Honorable Sorakile, you said Rule 91.